everybody. Welcome to the Paq-Man's Corner. I'm very happy that you are here watching the show today because we have a very special guest. I can say that this person is one of my favorite people in the world. And of course, one of my favorite clarinet players and saxophone players and composer. She's a unique artist and a wonderful human being. And I am very happy to be her friend. And we're talking about the one and only Anat Cohen. Welcome to our show, Anat.
Thank you, Paq-Man. I am almost crying already just from your introduction because you're Paquito. It's like such an honor to be here. You're such an inspiration, always, and in being, in playing, in composing, in making jokes, and being on stage. And this is like so great to be here with you.
Oh, man, you were one of the first people that we thought about when we started this series, the Paq-Man Corner. That we have to do something with Anat, because always I say Anat is the best example of what always say that you don't have to be Austrian to play Mozart. I always say that, and I say, no, if you are not Cuban, you cannot play El Son Montuno. But no. I don't believe in that. All you need is, of course, talent and dedication. You know, sweating is important also. And Anat Cohen is she's from Israel, from Tel Aviv, right?
Yes.
She's from Tel Aviv, Israel, and she had become part of the jazz scene in New York, as well as to the Brazilian scene in Rio de Janeiro. Eso le llamamos nosotros en Cuba, bailar en casa del trompo. I don't know what the name of that toy that is dancing, you know? It's a toy un trompo, yeah. It's going to dance en la casa del trompo. And Anat is playing choriños better than nobody else in the llano de Choriños. And Anat, how did we meet? I don't remember. I think it was when you had that duet with Alon Yavnai, right? Another great musician from Israel, the pianist.
Maybe, right? Maybe through Alon. And I think I don't remember if it was before, but I remember when Alon, it was one of your birthday, and I think we even have some pictures from this day, and you had a party, one of your famous parties at your house with amazing rice and beans made by Brenda. And Alon said, I was playing with this band, with the Shore Ensemble at the time. We were a group of Brasileiros, and I was the gringa.
Look what I have here.
Exactly.
Remember that? What's the name of that guy?
Pedro Ramos, the founder of the Shore Ensemble.
Playing the cavaquinho, which is on a small, he's like the Brazilian ukulele or something.
Yeah, exactly. So Alon was like, he said, you guys, he heard the band, said, you have to come to Paquito's house. And then we surprised you. We knocked on your door and we all had the instruments in our hands and we just walked into your house and we started to play Shore for you. And you were like, what? And I don't know if this is the first time, maybe, I'm not sure I met you personally before, but of course I knew.
We met before because I saw you playing with Alon. Alon is an extraordinary pianist. And that's another example of you don't have to be Austrian to play Mozart. Alon plays fantastic, any type of music, you know.
I know, if you just like make a drawing and put it in front of him on the piano, it will become amazing music.
Yeah, you know why he plays very good? And music that I thought that you had to be Venezuelan to play. It's the Venezuelan merengue. It's in 5. But you can mention how it works, but to play, you know, free on top of that is very hard. And now I remember that I saw you playing with him a piece that I love very much, which is El Voo de la Mosca.
Ah, that's true. We used to play that song. Yeah, definitely not written by a horn player, because there's no place to breathe.
No, to breathe. It remind me of Villalobos, you know, Heitor Villalobos was a great composer. Everybody knows that. But he's Brazilian, you know, he's in another planet. So he many times, and he used to play the flute, and he used to play long line for the flute with no place to breathe. So how is possible? So how did you manage to play that? Do you do circular breathing?
Oh no!
You know how to do that?
You gotta give people a break for the ears.
Yeah. But well, it's good for emergencies, you know. Sometimes you forget to breathe, and
I don't know how to, I don't know how to do it, and I never really wanted to learn, because for me there's one challenge is to learn to do circular breathing, and the other challenge is how to manipulate the music in a way that I can make the phrases that I can open space for myself to breathe, because it's a whole other when you play music like choro, that you can change the melody, and you don't have to play exactly a certain way, then you find
you can take you can take your licenses,
exactly,
for poetic licenses.
Exactly.
How did you get into the choro thing, into the Brazilian music thing?
You know, I was living in Boston, and I met a bunch of Brazilian people, and I fell in love with Brazilian music, and I realized that I felt at home because it sounded familiar, because there was a lot of Brazilian music influences in Israel where I grew up. But really what made me really finally fall in love and become what I am today, I think, is choro music, because you know, I was playing clarinet and I couldn't figure out, you know, I want to play jazz, and people didn't really, they say, play saxophone, don't play clarinet. And then I always felt like I'm apologizing when I want to play clarinet and in any situation. And then I started.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. I know the feeling, Anat. I know the feeling. You know that going to the stage, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Go for it.
Going to the stage, I don't remember how many times I went to the stage with John Faris, you know, and you say, Brillo alto.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah, it's in the dressing room. No, in the dressing room, no, bring it here.
I know when Joe Siegel told me, he introduced my band on the stage, and then he walks off and he looks at me and he says, "That's what you brought?"
You don't have a real instrument?
But then I found choro, and I was like, oh my God, this is a style of music that clarinet fits, and you don't have to apologize. It's part of the sound. So I was like, I'm in.
It's interesting, you know, the clarinet. I think let's see if I found the word. It falls from grace. I think that's the correct way to put it in English. For grace, when John Coltrane brought back the soprano saxophone to the scene, and then saxophone players, they saw the heaven opens, because you don't have to play that instrument anymore. So they play the soprano. They don't have to learn new fingerings. The clarinet is an instrument that you know better than I do. The instrument doesn't have to sound nice or don't play. The soprano, sometimes you play nasty, you know, and it's kind of hip, you know, playing out of tune or playing not with the clarinet.
Yeah.
So
very unforgiving.
Yeah, so the clarinet you have to play right, or you don't play. You remember what Frank West say about the clarinet, right?
Yes, but I would love for you to repeat.
Yeah. He said, the clarinet was invented by 5 men that never met.
Exactly. Well, you know, it is, I don't know, this instrument is a strange animal, because the more I practice, the harder it gets. I don't get it.
Yeah, Phil Wood used to say, Hey, Phil, where is your clarinet? He used to play very good clarinet.
Right.
Did you ever hear him playing the clarinet?
Yeah.
He played very well. And he said, Phil, what is your clarinet? I said, my clarinet is a lamp. I don't play that shit anymore because that instrument, he squeaks in the case, man.
Yeah, just when you think you got it, it squeaks.
Yeah, interesting because, and the other thing is that you find a good reed and all that. Oh, everything is going to be fine. Oh, you see, read the baby. That now on the ballad, I'm going to play that instrument. So you leave it, you put it apart a little while, and then when you pick it up, that doesn't work anymore. How is possible? The saxophone is very noble instrument. It's a blessing. You know, you leave it there for 6 months, and then you pick it up, and maybe you are not going to sound like Coltrane, but you know, you get a sound out of the instrument. Not with the clarinet. The clarinet is probably not as terrible as the French horn, but it's kind of demanding. But what a satisfaction when it sounds great. Eh?
When you play it, it's singing so beautifully. And I remember, I think that the first thing that I heard of yours is the duo you play with Cachao, the opening track for the CD. That you told me that you didn't even plan to record.
No, I recorded that for my father because my father, who was a classical saxophone player, he used to be Cachao's friend. So I said, let's play this for Tito. You want to do it? Yeah, let's do it. And let's record it just to have as a souvenir. So we talked to, that was during an intermission. Then Cachao talked to the engineer. Can you record this? He told him in Spanish because he didn't speak any English. Oye, mulato, tú puedes grabar esto ahora mismo. And then the guy said, sure, go for it. And then we recorded that piece that you like with Dylan. My father used to play that dance every day. That was composed by Ernest. For those of you that doesn't know, it's called Al Fin Te Vi, like the national composer or musician of Cuba, which is the maestro Ernesto Lecuona. My father used to play that every day. Then I recorded with Cachao, and they put it in the CD that won like so many Grammys. You know.
It's such a great recording, and I discovered it when I was a student in Boston at Berklee College of Music, and I remember I brought the album with me to Israel when I visited, and I played it for my father, and he just he took it. That's it. He said he said I have to have it, and he loved it, and he always asked me to play this song, so he fell in love with it, and through you. And I have a very big part in my heart for this song and for you and your father and my father. So this is a.
So your father is a musician too.
He wanted to be a musician so much. He loved music. He knew music, but he never officially played any instrument. But he had music in his blood.
He probably was one of those musicians but not playing any instrument.
Exactly.
Like Jacques Muyal.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's always hanging with the musician, knows everything about music, but they didn't have the time to pick up an instrument.
Yeah, I think he really wanted. I mean, he had one of his best friends who used to play violin, and he sat next to him for hours just watching him practicing. I think he wanted to play, but at the time nobody got him an instrument, so he never got to it. But it's okay. My parents made 3 children that are musicians, so you know, he lived through us.
How are your brothers? How are they
They're
doing?
good. They're good. They're hanging in there, you know, adapting to this crazy reality of you know, indoors mainly. But
They are in Israel now. They are back in Israel.
Yeah, both of them are in Israel right now, in Tel Aviv.
Wonderful players. I remember
amazing
seeing you playing in that ship. Wonderful. The Cohen band with the 3 horns in front. I love that thing.
Yeah.
Tell me something. Why the clarinet and the saxophone? How come that you pick up those instruments? I remember that you say that the clarinet picked you up. No, you picked you up.
Yeah, the clarinet. It's true. We had, I don't know why okay, so we had a clarinet at home. My father bought it. He didn't really, I mean, he could play and he could make sounds and melodies from any instrument. So there was a clarinet at home. And I remember him showing me, he played something for me, and those low notes, I was like, how?
Jimmy Jufrey.
Exactly. I love Jimmy Jufrey. So you know, I when it was time to pick up a horn, we went to the conservatory, and there was you know, in the storage place, a bunch of instruments, and they gave me a clarinet, and they needed clarinet in the band, so they offered, and I accepted. And there was a box full of barrels, and a box full of mouthpieces, and a box full of ligatures, and you just take one and okay, go play. And then that's it. I play clarinet, and I didn't know how to treat it or how to clean it. And my father had the suggestion that I clean it with his rifle cleaner. So that's like a metal rod, right? When you put at the end, you put a little cloth, and you know. So I was cleaning my clarinet for a while with his rifle cleaner, until the mouthpiece exploded one day. When I tried to pass it through, and then I realized, wait a second, I think there's a better way to clean a clarinet.
Yeah, not with a rifle cleaner. So your first instrument was the clarinet, not the saxophone.
Not the saxophone, but you know, it was a conservatory, and they had a jazz band, and they said, hey, why don't you pick up a saxophone and come play in the big band? So they needed tenor. You know, I'm always like fulfilling what people need. So they needed clarinet players. I picked clarinet. So they gave me a tenor, and man, I just, you know, the part in Splanky Blues when there's like, you sit in the second tenor chair and you're waiting, the head in, and go twice, and then you have to go in this low F. And I was like I think I was breathing for a whole chorus, like, I could never play that note. I just, I started to play the saxophone because I got into jazz, and again, I couldn't fit, you know, clarinet was out of fashion. I couldn't fit, now everybody was making faces, and I figured I'll focus. So for years I focused on the tenor saxophone until I found Shoto, and I was like, okay, suddenly I'm a clarinet player again. But yeah.
Well, that's the way it is, you know. John Fall is asking me whether you're alto, but believe it or not, the person who encouraged me to play the clarinet again was Mario Bauza and Dizzy Gillespie. Really? Dizzy told me. Mario told me, you know who Mario Bauza is, right? The musical director of the Machito Orchestra. He used to play clarinet, alto saxophone, and trumpet. He switched to the trumpet because Nobel Cecil needs a trumpet player. No, Chick Webb needs a trumpet player, and then he learned to play the trumpet. And then so Mario told me, Mario told me that you play the clarinet. Why do you don't play the clarinet anymore? People don't play that. I think you should play the clarinet. You think so? And then somebody brought my clarinet from Cuba, a Canadian tourist. And he gave me the clarinet. It was all green inside. Of course. So I had to repair. The instrument was an old centered tone by the server. Did you ever play those instruments? No. The centered tone. You always play buffet, right?
But yeah, I mean, I played Selmer before Buffet, yeah, but
Yeah.
not for a while.
And then I started playing, and Dizzy was so happy that I played the clarinet. But I think the person, as we talk about before, we talk about Coltrane and the soprano and all that. But I think that the person and the LP that show us that it is life for the clarinet, it's life after the soprano, was Eddie Daniels when he recorded that LP called Breakthrough.
Yeah.
When I heard that in 1986, probably you were too young in that time. We're talking about too many years ago. But when we hear that, wow, that is beautiful. And it's a clarinet, because before that was just Buddy DeFranco. Buddy DeFranco was the only thing, and a little bit Ken Peplowski, played the beautiful tenor and clarinet, and Andy Davern, but very few clarinet players around. But I think that, maybe because it was a powerful company who recorded that. I think the company was a GRP or something.
Mm-hmm.
They recorded that break.
I think so.
That give us clarinet players the confidence to pick up the instrument again. And well, after that came you and so there is a very talented kid called Pakley.
Felix, yeah, he's amazing.
Pakley, and so many others. It's wonderful now to see how many young players are playing the instrument again. Because we were relegated to, neglected for so long. It's like when you say that people look at you and say, "What is your saxophone?"
Yeah.
But we are back.
Yes, it's such a shame, but you're right. There's more and more. I see also more people also in different places you go. You see young people playing the clarinet again, and not apologizing, and we spend years apologizing and trying to fit it, and it's such a great instrument, and it has such a opportunity to fit in so many different musical situations, but people just need to open their mind. Like I remember some singer, I was hired to play on a singer's record to play bass clarinet, but then something happened with my bass clarinet and I couldn't play it. So I told the musical director, I said, "Listen, I can play clarinet instead." And then he called me, sure. And then he called me the next day. He said, "Listen, the singer said absolutely no clarinet on my record."
as simple as that. No.
Yeah. I'm like, okay.
No, some people don't like that. Lou Donaldson, they say, no, I don't play that thing anymore. No, don't play that for me. It's like 5 men that invented the instrument and they never met. But he's coming back. Not apologizing, as you say. That's a good way to put it. It is on a space. No, not as much as the saxophone. You know what? The problem with the clarinet is, one is the volume. You don't have enough volume to compete with the trumpet. With the saxophone fits better with the trombones and the trumpets and the loud drummers that I hate. But it's a very special instrument. That is what it is, and people are terrorized for the way you have to concentrate in the instrument. That's an instrument that you cannot play like. No. This thing you have to concentrate and play the instrument. It's a little bit like the French horn. You cannot play the French horn. Nobody. You know how they call the French horn? They call it the God's horn.
The God's horn. Because
you blow it in one end and only God knows what's coming out.
Oh, the God's.
So the clarinet is more or less like that. It's terrible. The other day I was talking to somebody and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I have never worked more and make less money than now." because Juanito made me work so hard every day, Juanito Ruiz. our colleague, mainly works with all his ideas and all that. Let's do this, let's do that. Let's call Anat Cohen.
It's really great.
Yeah, it's great to have enthusiastic people. The other day we did a show with Julian Bliss. Was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have to check it out. I was looking for I saw the conversation you had with Juan on your corner, and also I saw the little educational advices, and I think it's really, it's kind of interesting because for all the performers now, since we cannot play concerts, a lot of people are turning in to give some insights of what you learn or something that you think valuable. And like you talked about articulation and just to hear the way you speak and to have everybody have access to hear you say something so important about reading music, about having articulation, having groove. It's so important, and coming from the masters, people pay attention rather than sometimes their teacher, they might say similar things, but it's not going to mean as much as when people find you saying it. So I think it's important.
Articulation is something very important. Today I was, he came to my way a book that our beloved Claudio Roditi wrote about articulation too. For some reason, there is some jazz players that all they play is legato, and that is very boring. My father used to say, they put the tongue on that mouthpiece, and everything is. What about some articulation now? And people like Winton or Claudio or Anat Cohen, that they use articulation is such an important, no? The staccato is something else that they don't want to use it anymore. That is a tool that you can use. You cannot play everything legato the same way that you cannot play everything staccato, because it's like eating the same thing every day or something.
Well, it's like being in shape and doing your physical exercises, right? It's sometimes since jazz involved with so much imagination and understanding, the ideas, that sometimes the physical labor people get put secondary. But I'm with you. I think it's super important.
Yeah, articulation and pianos and forte. I know that if you play everything forte, en español le llaman matices, the dynamics is such an important. Sometimes in popular music and even in jazz, they forget that it's important to use the dynamics, piano and forte and mezzo piano and don't play nothing at all. The silence is important too.
Yeah.
The silence. I used to have a teacher who said, silence is more important than music. I said, why you say that? I said, because silence was there before the music. So it was there before. So you have to respect the silence. Don't play all the time. Remember when Miles Davis told Coltrane once, you're playing too long? So I don't know how to stop playing. I said, you know something? Take your mouthpiece off your mouth. That's it.
Sometimes it's so hard to just stop.
Sometimes it's hard to stop, huh?
Yeah, but for some people, they want to stop, but their ego say, keep going, keep going.
Keep going. It's important the use of space and not playing at all. Don't playing at all. There was a wonderful trumpet player called Bob Clayton from the swing era. They say, the most important notes are not the ones that you play, are the ones that you leave out. Those are the good notes. Don't play nothing. It's better than play. If you don't have nothing to say, say nothing.
Yeah, there was an article that Phil Woods, we were talking about Phil Woods earlier, that says, don't just do something, stand there. They always say, don't just stand there, do something. But they say, don't just do something, stand there.
Phil was a great guy, huh?
Yeah.
Very special character, very good writer too.
Yeah.
Used to be a very good writer. I have a couple of pieces for saxophone quartet that he wrote. Very impressive writer. Yeah, very special guy that gave up the clarinet too. His clarinet was an amp. When did you move to New York? You used to live in Boston, right?
Yeah, I came from Israel to Berklee College of Music. So I was, yeah, and in 99, I moved to New York. And yeah, I'm still in New York, technically.
In 1999, wow. So we know each other for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
So what was your first gig here? In the post office or what?
Yeah, well, in a lot of places that don't exist anymore, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But you know, I got very, very early on. You know, I walked around Manhattan, and I realized, you know, that I was not yet really focusing on the clarinet. I was still carrying my soprano saxophone on my back.
Soprano, yeah.
Yeah, because you know, like you mentioned Coltrane, and when I heard Coltrane playing Big Nick and on the soprano, I was like, I gotta get a soprano. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's one piece, you know. Remember waiting for the subway, you just take out the whole piece and you play. You don't have to stop putting it together. It's much faster. But you know, I was in New York, and I was just, it was just so overwhelming because there was so much music. And I remember walking around and you know, going to, you know, there was all these like friends and people playing. There was, you know, a band playing at Gonzales y Gonzales. Remember this place?
Wow, God, big, was a huge place.
Yeah.
Gonzales y Gonzales. Yeah.
And I was like watching, like, I want to play this music. And then I went to like Cafe Wow, to SOBs, you know, and I was like, I want to play this music. I went to Smalls, and I want to play this. And I wanted to be part of everything and do everything. And so, you know, we talked about being like, I wanted to do everything, and I was really confused. I'm like, do I need to choose how to do and which music? And then, you know, you came into my life, and I said, wow, look at that. Here's a musician that does everything. He can play classical music, he plays Brazilian music, he plays Cuban music, he plays Argentinian music, he plays everything. He plays jazz, he makes everything his own. And I realized, you know, my first conclusion, you know, was that music is music. So the more music I will know, the better musician I will be. So I always tell, you know, when people ask me for advice, I tell people, don't be a snob of one music. Just be open-minded, because, you know, you learn. Even if it's not something you end up playing, you get fed from some ideas. But I like the excitement of learning. I get inspired from new things and from rhythm. So you've been such an inspiration for me.
Oh, I am very happy to hear that, because you are one of my favorite players around, you know, for the longest time. Now 20 years already, huh?
Oh my God.
I remember there was a place that probably you went there, Cafe something, that all the Brazilians used to go there.
Café Wa.
El Café Wa, no? Yeah. El Café Wa. They play midday, like 3 o'clock or something, no?
Well, I remember we played until 3 in the morning, so I don't know.
So it's different one. Was a different one. Was across the street from the park, from that famous park. And Sergio Brandao was already always there. Sergio and Portinho and Duduk and all those Brazilians.
Was that the Zinc Bar?
No, the Zinc Bar was another, but there was a cafe that they played.
Ah, the coffee shop.
A coffee shop. They call it the coffee shopping.
The coffee shop in Union Square.
The coffee shop, yeah.
That was amazing. Yes, I met all these guys there. Duduk and Maúcha and Elinho, Romero, and everybody used to hang out there. It was a nice hang.
But during the day, right? That was like
it was a Saturday brunch.
Saturday brunch, that's what it is. That doesn't exist anymore, probably, yeah.
Really?
And Porteño have been forever in that other place called Plataforma.
Yep.
Well,
What a great player, Portinho.
Yeah, fantastic players. Well, I learned so much from all those Brazilians, you know. And the music is so fantastic. The music of the Brazilians and the harmony. I think it's the best combination. Brazilian has the best combination of melody, rhythm, and harmony in any popular music around the world. They can combine all that, and still you can play your jazz stuff, and it fits perfectly. Yeah, I think it's the closest music to jazz is Brazilian music. How did you discover them in New York City? You're very closely associated with them, huh? With Romero and all those guys.
Well, as we know, Brazilian people are nice, warm people. So, you know, it's I actually I remember as I was describing, I was walking around, I was sitting in. So once you meet one person, said, "Oh yeah, nice playing. I'm playing in this other place." So I make sure to write it down, and I go to that other place, and then I meet more musicians. I go to the other place. So I just, you know, that was before Facebook.
Before Brazilian Facebook,
it was face to face.
You played for a while with the Diva Orchestra too, right?
Right, for 10 years.
10 years you played with Diva. And I think in those days, the alto player was Caroline, no? Carolina.
Yes.
What a wonderful band there.
Man, it was really a great experience. Sherry Miracle, the leader and the founder, with Stanley Kay that we miss, and great. There were a bunch of great players, man. This big band was sight reading best than any band I've ever seen. Like you put any music in front of them and count, and they would play. We did shows with Nancy Wilson and Dave Brubeck, and they were just reading the hell out of anything. And it was also great for me to understand that people have different plan as being a musician, and you know, some people want to be Broadway musicians, even all the inside jazz, you know, the people that want to be section players, and people that want to play in Broadway, people who want to have a gig, people that want to be soloists.
Doublers, the doublers.
Yeah.
Some of them are absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
That's a totally different profession. That is not being a musician. That is something else. All those people that play all those instruments beautifully.
You have many
instruments. Roger Rosenberg and Feldman. What's the name of the Lawrence Feldman? And all those guys that they can. I saw Lawrence Feldman once playing, well, in a session that we've been. He said, "Oh, I do this," and he can play like Paul Desmond and like David Sanborn. The same person. You think they pay me and play like David Sanborn or like Anat Cohen, man. So like the doublers, that's a specialty to play all those instruments.
Definitely is, absolutely.
Yeah, to play the clarinet and the flute. Eddie is another one that do that very well. But it takes a lot of dedication to be a doubler. You never become a doubler, right? Like have to play all the. You play the flute.
I used to, but yeah, I mean the flute. I mean I sound really good for exactly 30 milliseconds.
What do you mean?
No, I can play one note and I you know, it takes flute is maintenance and a lot of dedication. I can't. I mean
yeah, like anything.
Yeah, I was very mediocre, and no, I decided to give the clarinet a shot, and it worked. So
yeah, the flute is total. I have met a few people that plays good flute that used to play the saxophone and the clarinet, but they give up. One of them is Hubert Loss.
Oh yeah?
Oh, but Hubert Loss was a saxophone player, and probably was good because his brother was a saxophone player. Ronnie Loss was a very good tenor player, and Mongo Santa Maria told me that Hubert used to play very good tenor and clarinet, but he dedicated himself to the flute. There is a few flute players that used to play the saxophone. They say, no, not anymore. Just the flute. The sound of the instrument is very important.
I remember that you mentioned Carolina Strossmayer a couple of times, and she used to tell me that the flute helps her saxophone playing, practicing the flute. That's
never heard of anything like that. It's helped her improving the saxophone. Everybody is different. Claudio Roditi told me, that I probably you know this. I hired Claudio not because of his trumpet playing, because of his valve trombone playing.
Yeah.
I love the way they play the trombone. Did you ever meet Diego Di Mello?
No.
Diego Di Mello was a guy who used to have a loft on top of Soundscape. And he was a person who told me, who asked me, do you know Claudio Roditi? I said, no, who's that? He's a wonderful trumpet player from Brazil, and I know you like the Brazilian music. So that is the guy that you're looking for. I hear that you want another horn player with you, right? I said, yeah, I need somebody next to me. I said, this is the guy you need. So I went to see him in a place called Jazzmania.
Uh-huh.
And was Claudio playing the beautiful valve trombone. And I fall in love with him. And then I went to see him at the Blue Note playing valve trombone with Raul de Souza.
What, both of them together?
Two trombones, yeah. A valve trombone and a slide trombone. I fell in love with that. And I hired him because of that. And one day I have a recording and I asked him 2 o'clock at CBS studio. And fluent horn and trombone. I said, I'm sorry, but I don't have the trombone anymore. You are the trombonist. What do you mean you don't have a trombone? No, man, I sold the trombone because it screwed up my embouchure for the trumpet. They say, how is it possible? No, it's not good. But then later, years later, I found Diego Urcola. And I asked him.
He plays both.
Beautifully. And I wait for the week. Let's say, will you play the trombone for me? Okay, give me one and I will try. And I did it. A week later, he told me, yeah, I can play it, and it improved my chop in the trumpet.
Ah, interesting.
It's like everybody is different.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different approach to the instrument. But you know that Claudio is carioca. Then Diego told me, you know something? I think that he's very lazy and he didn't want to carry the trombone or the trumpet. And I told Claudio that, look what the Argentinians said, that you are a lazy carioca and you don't want to carry the trumpet and the trombone.
It's a possibility, definitely.
Yeah, because carry all those instruments.
But what about for you the clarinet and the saxophone and switching in between? Is it something like that you don't think about, or is it something that you make some kind of mental and physical adjustment?
Yes, they are cousins, as you know. You know, the saxophone is a descendant of the clarinet, but the concept is well, you know that it's totally different. The concept of the instrument, the saxophone is a more relaxed instrument to play. It's easy, let's put it the way, easier to play. Make more sense. There is not anything like an easy instrument. Every instrument, even the kazoo, have these difficulties to play. But the clarinet, you have to concentrate more. You know that. So when I play the saxophone, if the reed is not very good, I blow it harder. I know that. The clarinet, you need a good reed, and you have to concentrate in what you play. So yeah, you have to do some adjustment in your mind, because the blowing. And another thing I have found is that the clarinet is an instrument that is very easy to make it sound ugly. Very easy. The saxophone can be very hip, you know. The clarinet, you try to play like a saxophone, and it's horrible. You have to concentrate. It's very easy to make it sound horrible.
It's definitely easy to recognize when a saxophone player plays the clarinet and not used to play the clarinet.
I can recognize it even when they open the box of the clarinet. Or they put the clarinet in the floor. They have to, so they put the clarinet in the floor. Clarinet player don't play the clarinet in the floor. You bring your stand, or you put it in here in your legs or something, but you don't play the clarinet in the floor. Yeah,
it's always ready.
Oh, of course. Actually, I have two of them around here.
And how many did you step on and you broke already?
Oh, many, but these are very strong. It's a K and M, right?
Yeah, K and M.
It's a very good one. There is another one now that is smaller, that you can fit it in the bell.
Yeah, this one fits in the bell.
Yeah.
But it doesn't fit in my case.
No, anymore. But it's too long. No, there is a model here that now that is shorter.
Yeah, because you don't need this part. Actually.
Very strong, very strong.
I love it.
What mouthpiece are you using these days?
I've been using the same mouthpiece for the past 25 years. It's a Morgan.
You know that I think Ken Peprowski used the Morgan too.
Really?
I think so. I
ordered one.
I ordered one, and it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. So the mouthpiece is something so personal, no?
Yeah.
I use the German cuts reeds like Ken Peprowski. What do you use?
I also use Van Doren, but I use a V16.
V16 number 3?
3.5.
3.5. So probably you have a smaller mouthpiece.
It's kind of open.
Yeah?
Yeah.
3.5, that's heavy.
I think.
You know, this mouthpiece is interesting because I used to have, for many years, not for a while, a Ria, Italian Ria. It's a crystal mouthpiece.
Uh-huh.
A crystal mouthpiece, and then, for some reason, as a curiosity, I wanted to have a copy of the Italian Ria in hard rubber. And then Rossi, the luthier, he told me, call Heinz Viotto in Berlin. See, Heinz Viotto, he made mouthpieces. And tell him that, what do you want? You want a copy of the Italian Ria M2 in hard rubber. And I was playing with the WDR orchestra, and he said, "Here are the mouthpieces. Now you're not going back to the crystal." I said, "Well, you are very arrogant." You will see. That happened like almost 20 years ago, and still like I've been trying all the mouthpieces, and as I said before, it's something very personal. So I keep the same thing. That doesn't make it easier.
No, but it helps. I mean, of course, the sound is inside you, but
Yeah, you need some help. But yeah, Anat, you wrote a piece that I love, and I would love to close the program with this piece. I am so happy that you came to participate in our show, because as I said before, you are one of my favorite people here in my house. Even my cat loves you. So,
it's so amazing to get to hang. We exchange messages, and here and there when we hear each other play in different places, you know, we leave messages, but this is a great opportunity, and thank you for inviting me to your corner. I mean, I'd rather be in your house having rice and beans.
Yeah, we will do it. Yeah, probably you don't remember this, but that birthday you are talking about, Alon could not make it. He was in his way to Israel, or he had a gig, I don't know. And then he sent you as a birthday present with your group. You don't remember that, but Alon called Brenda and thought, man, I cannot make it. I have a gig, or I'm going to Israel or something. But there is somebody who's going to knock at your door with a surprise for you. And the surprise was you with your group. You don't remember that?
I do remember that Alon wasn't there, but I remember the day.
Brenda knew and said, come on, open the door. Then when I opened the door, I remember you. And I have to tell you that was one of the best birthday presents I ever had in my life. So, thank you for being here with us. And we are going to close our show with a wonderful composition by Anat Cohen that I heard in one of her CDs, and it's called Valsa do Sul.
It's amazing that you want to play the song with us. We recorded a special version of my Valsa do Sul, Valsa of the South, with Marcelo Gonçalves, great 7-string guitar player from Rio de Janeiro. And I wrote this song in the south of Brazil at the Iguaçu Falls. And now we get a version with the great Paquito D'Rivera.
We love you, Anat Cohen. Shalom.
Paq-Man.
Shalom.
Shalom, toda. Gracias.